Hey everybody, I wanted to make a video today about how you spot fake Game Boy Advance cartridges. People seem to have a really hard time doing this. I'm not exactly sure why. I guess it helps if you're detail oriented. If it's not already obvious just by looking at these two cartridges, this one on the left is fake and the one on the right is authentic. The one on the left came from eBay, which is kind of disappointing. And honestly, I'm not even sure why you'd sell fake copies of Mega Man Zero. It's like a $10 game. I don't have any problem paying $10 for a game because I have a few fake cartridges. I really don't care. I'll go to AliExpress and pay $4 for it myself if I want a fake one. But anyway, since I've got this thing, let's just jump right in. Okay, so a few of the things that make it blatantly obvious if you're just looking at it right here. First, the label on Mega Man Zero, this is just completely wrong. You can tell that it has been stretched out horizontally quite a bit. That's not something that professional graphic designers do. I think that people have a hard time telling that these labels have been stretched out because everybody watches their HD TVs with the stretch settings on. So I think it becomes normal to people. But that's certainly not normal, and that's not the original cartridge label for Mega Man Zero either. It's not even close. The other thing to notice here, which this is just sort of a dorky thing, the white Nintendo logo. The white Nintendo logo is sort of a recent development. At this point in time, they would have been using the classic red racetrack logo. The white Nintendo logo really only came around with the Wii, and the red logo is actually retired now. The other thing to notice on this cartridge, there is not an ESRB rating. The ESRB rating is probably your best friend in identifying pirate cartridges because pirates cannot get it right. I don't know what it is, if it's just a matter of having difficulty with English characters or something, but I've never seen a cartridge get the ESRB logo right, so they decided to just leave it off. That logo will be there on any North American Game Boy Advance release. It's no question about it. It will be there. So if you don't see it, it's either a fake cart or it could be European. But even if it's European, there's other regulatory markings that would be there, and there's none of that sort on this cartridge. A couple other things before we dig in further and get some close-up details. The logo on here is very wrong. It's thin, and if you get up close to it, you can tell it's sort of distorted looking too. I'm going to pop the macro lens on here and we'll take a closer look. You can see that on the original cartridge the logo is relatively flat. It's not as raised as this is. The other thing you can notice about these two carts, on the fake one here, the transition from the flat part of the cartridge to the curved part here, it's very sharp and angular. It is not like that on the official cart. It's a nice and smooth transition. So I'm going to pop the macro lens on here and we'll take a closer look at a couple of details, and then I will open up the cartridge and show you what's inside. So we'll get closer here to the typeface. You can see it's very raised up. We'll move back over to the real one. It's nice and flat. There's no distortion or anything to the letters. One other thing to look for on the real cart, there will be a 2-digit number pressed into the label. This is on every label. It's not necessarily always 19, but it will be there. On the fake cart, there is no such thing. I'm not exactly sure what the point of the numbering is, but it is most certainly on every cart. The other thing to notice, the printing dots are nice and clean. You can individually see each one. When you look at this label, it kind of has a pattern to it, like it's been scanned and blown up, which I'm sure it has. It doesn't look the same as the other printing dots. I think it's harder to see on the camera. Most likely this was printed on a laser printer, just to make things quick and easy. So I'm going to pop off the macro lens here and we'll open up the board and take a look at the inside. And I was sort of surprised at the inside of this. It's actually pretty nice looking. But here you can see this Nintendo logo on the bottom here. Does not look right at all. This is visible if you look up from the bottom of the cartridge. I'll show you what it looks like on the actual cartridge. It's not the racetrack logo, it's just regular text. The other weird thing about these fake cartridges is that they have these little pinholes on the contacts. I'm not sure why those are there. Usually you would route something through a hole like that, but it's not a good scene. And looking at this thing through the camera, I'm also noticing there's a weird blob of solder on the board right there. I'm not sure what the hell is going on with that. I'm going to point to it right there, that blob of solder. And it almost looks like they've gone and hot glued the battery in place. I kind of want to get a better look at that. Let's see. Well, it looks like everything is soldered in on here. So I guess they just hot glued it to secure it a little bit better. Yeah, this thing is better than I was expecting it to look inside, but that glob of solder is really concerning. If that comes loose from the board, it could connect with pins on the EEPROM here and cause shorts, and nobody's going to have any fun after that. So that's the sign of a really poorly made cart, and I'm not sure exactly what the hell is going on up here with the SRAM either. You can see it almost looks like it, I don't know what the hell happened there. It looks like it's peeling. It's also strange how the pins go right to the edge of the board there. That's really bizarre. Yeah, this is really cheaply made. Not that I expected anything better. I'm kind of surprised there's actually a physical chip in there. A lot of these fakes will just have glop tops. So yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't want to use that. Here is the real cartridge. See the mask ROM over there, and real Game Boy Advance cartridges have FRAM. At least most of them do. The FRAM is not powered by battery like this Chinese knockoff is. So this is SRAM, needs a battery, it's volatile. FRAM, non-volatile, does not need a battery. Saves your shit, don't worry about it. So yeah, there you go. That's how you spot fakes, and apparently you don't want these Chinese fakes, because that little glob of solder is going to come loose and ruin your day. I'm Comrade Snarky, and I hope this has been helpful to you.